And now to the stories. Let's start off with security matters, where prison break in Kefi, Nasarawa State, as residents are expressing deep concerns following Tuesday's jailbreak at the Medium Security Custodial Center that saw 16 inmates escape after attacking prison officials. Now, 7 of the escapees have been rearrested, while a manhunt continues for the remaining 9. For locals, the incident has raised fresh questions about the safety of lives and property, with calls for urgent reforms to Nigeria's correctional facilities. Residents say the prison break has left them unsettled and are urging the government to strengthen prison security and improve living conditions for inmates, stressing that neglecting these issues could make jailbreaks more frequent. Right now, News Central's Sagir Ibrahim joins us live from Kefi with more on the jailbreak and what the residents are saying. Sagir Ibrahim, now we understand that 9 inmates are still at large. What has been the efforts to get those rearrested?
Good afternoon, Blessings. Well, it's still hush-hush on the part of the authorities, but for residents here in Kefi, Nasarawa State, they're concerned. It's a concern about their security, it's a concern about their safety. They are saying, of course, this is not the first time. This, in fact, is the second time that such incidents has happened. And they're calling on the government to do the necessary, including the authorities, to ensure that not only security is beefed up in and around these medium custodial facilities, but also to ensure an improvement in the welfare of these, incarcerated Nigerians or incarcerated individuals. They feel that one of the major reasons why we may see a surge or a ramp up in jailbreaks, as the case may be, it could also be traced to the welfare. They have continually complained that poor welfare of these inmates continues to be an issue on the front burner. Of course, not forgetting the fact that prison reforms are also very important. You recall that the Minister of Interior had instigated an investigation into all of these issues with hopes that it would address the many issues that have been raised regarding Nigeria's correctional facility system. So here for residents in Kefi, an increase in security, beefing up the welfare packages for inmates, and also a general outlook in terms of security awareness for other residents is important to avert and to prevent a resurgence of such situations.
I'm not a resident there, but I can feel the fear, because if you're living in a community where inmates are at large, it's only normal for you to be scared. So are there any inmate measures or immediate measures rather put in place to prevent the repeat of this incident?
Blessing, you please need to come again. I didn't get the last question.
I'm just basically saying that I'm sure that there is fear amongst the people right now. Are there immediate measures that are being put in place to prevent a repeat of these jailbreaks?
Well, first off, at the correctional facility, save for the fact that there is a security truck positioned in front of the entrance, not much I would say I've seen in terms of the presence of improved security in this area. However, residents here continue to be vigilant. This is an area that houses 2 correctional facilities, so definitely an increase in security awareness is one of the cause that they've continued to clamor for, in order to ensure that they are safe, and in order to ensure that other residents within these vicinities take their own security very, very importantly, and also ensure that all of these issues are brought to the front burner, because like they also mentioned that these issues happening sort of puts the prison system in the spotlight, so that the much attention that it deserves, it gets, and to address all of these major concerns.
All right, thanks, Sagir, for that update. Sagir Ibrahim there with the update from Kefi, Nasarawa State. Now, lawmakers in Zamfara State have raised strong concerns over the worsening security situation in that region. During a plenary session, the House of Assembly expressed frustration with the government's handling of the crisis, accusing it of neglecting affected communities and offering little to no support to victims. Several constituencies reported being overwhelmed by violence, reported raids, mass displacement, livestock rustling, and loss of lives, with a minimal response from the state government, prompting calls for the federal government to take full control of security operations in that state. Now to Nigeria's northeast, where Borno State Governor Professor Babangana Umaru Zulum has called for the deployment of the additional air platforms to further degrade the capabilities of Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters in the Lake Chad, Sambisa Forest, Timbuktu Triangle, and Mandara Mountains. Now, Governor Zulu made the call when he received the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, at the Government House in Maiduguri. News Central's Umoru Kirawa reports that the governor acknowledged the synergy between the Nigerian Air Force and other services in the counter-insurgency operations, noting that it contributed to the recent operational successes. News Central's Umoru Kirawa joins us now for more updates on this. Kirawa, what more can you tell us about this recent development in tackling insurgency and insecurity?
Well, it's a situation that the Nigerian government has been battling for years, and improved collaboration, particularly between the air component, the land army, and of course, other paramilitary and other important actors in the fight against insurgency is critical. And that is why the state governor, when the chief of air staff visited him, pleaded for more support, particularly with regard to the air component, so that the insurgents that are marauding the fringes of the Lake Chad, the Sambisa Forest, and the Timbuktu Triangle, among other areas within the border of Nigeria, Cameroon, Nigeria, Niger, Nigeria, and Chad, can be tackled.
All right, Kira, thank you for the updates, and we'll see how this goes. Moving on now, the federal government has ordered the withdrawal of the case against Comfort Emerson related to an incident on an Ibom Air flight on the 10th of August 2025, which I'm sure that you all have seen. Now, Emerson had been remanded in prison following the event. The decision to withdraw the case came amid widespread condemnation from civil society groups, the public, and the Nigerian Bar Association, all of whom criticized Ibom Air and the airline operators for Nigeria for their handling of the situation. Meanwhile, Nigeria Police Force has begun investigating Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, also known as KWAM, over alleged unruly behaviour that reportedly obstructed the safe operation of an aircraft at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The force public relations officer, DCP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement said the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority had formally petitioned the police over the incident, which allegedly occurred on the 5th of August 2025. Joining us now to discuss more on this is a legal practitioner, Oluwatodimu Ige. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a very interesting turn of event, and I'm sure that the public has been on this case for a long time. First off, I'll start by asking, what's your take on the recent development?
Well, it means that the recent development that the federal government has said that the matter being withdrawn shows that the public outcry and the feedbacks from the general populace and, of course, the opinions by various pressure groups, professional bodies, has actually gotten to the government. And as a result of that, the government has intervened in the impasse.
So what do you say that there is a difference between the case of KWAM and Comfort Emerson? Because a lot of people see so much similarities in those cases.
Yes, well, as a matter of fact, the matters are very similar because when you look at it broadly, and if you look at the infringements that the infringement against the law, number one, we can see the issue of assault. Now, assault is on both sides for the case of Clement. Because it's reported that she assaulted the air hostess, while also, from the videos that we have seen, the way she was handled and manhandled also shows that assault was also on her part. For KWAM, it's evident from the videos that we have seen that he obstructed the movement of the airline, and was also alleged that he sprinkled whatever the substance that was in his flask on operatives of value jet. So, as a matter of fact, if you look at it, both of them have committed virtually the same offense, but the handling of it was just one was different.
So, what legal implications might arise from the federal government's withdrawal of the case against Ms. Comfort Emerson?
Well, as it stands, the administrative Administration of Criminal Justice in Nigeria empowers the federal government and even a complainant to withdraw an action against an individual. So the legal implication of this is that there will be no action, there will be no criminal action against Ms. Comfort Mercy, and she will be discharged. And from the press release, we can see that instruction has also been given to the prosecutor and the complainant to facilitate a release from the Kirikiri. So what this means in the large effect is that she has been discharged. No criminal charges will be pressed against her.
So let's talk about the angle that nobody actually saw coming, and that is the possibility of a legal recourse on the part of Ms. Emerson concerning the unauthorized release of that particular video footage. What legal recourse is available to her?
Well, from my perspective, and my perspective is largely premised on what the law says. Number one, for her, the legal recourse, number one is as enshrined in Section 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that ensures that she's protected, she's she is dignified. Every Nigerian has a right to privacy and dignity. And from what you have seen in those videos, it's evident that her dignity was not maintained. If you are going to arrest someone, there are proper procedures of arrest. That's on one side. Number two is the issue of cyberbullying. As a matter of fact, because if you look at the provisions of the Cybercrimes Act, you will see that some of the videos that were aired online showed her bosom, and that video was posted by an airline crew, because the angle of the video shows that whoever recorded that video must have been working for the airline, and she has a recourse to actually go against them for that. Number three is you see that in one of the videos that I saw, the air hostess resisted her leaving the aircraft. Of course, that also can, if the facts are properly examined, she can also come out against them for an action that we call false imprisonment, because she was refrained, she was detained unlawfully. And finally, she also has a right, because there's a civil tort has been committed. She can actually sue the airline and, of course, get damages and compensation for all the items that I've listed above.
So it's quite interesting, because a lot of individuals might not understand the gravity of what happened or what transpired that day. So how does the intervention of the Nigerian Bar Association and public outcry influence legal proceedings in cases like this one?
Well, now, the law is the law. That's the truth of it. The law is the law. But considering that the Nigerian Bar Association, which is the foremost professional body of lawyers in Nigeria, has intervened to say that, two wrongs cannot make a right. Yes, Ms. Comfort Mercy erred on the side of law. But on the other part, people there, did they handle the matter as they ought to have handled it? So that brings us to the intervention of NBA and all the public outcry. The government we're in a democracy. It's government of the people, for the people, by the people. That means that the government ordinarily should listen, and it shows that the government is listening, ends their intervention on compassionate ground to see that the law does not take its course, to see how parties, of course, the law also allows for ADR, and in this instance, this is the ADR mechanism that has been deployed to see that the matters do not further escalate.
All right, legal practitioner Oluwatoji, clearly this case isn't over yet. Thank you so much for discussing it with us.
Thank you.
We go on a short break now. It's still the 12 report, and when we return, young Nigerians face rising anxiety amid social media surge. We'll tell you why shortly. Stay with us. You're still live with us on the 12 report. Now to a rather sad development. 10 passengers of a Sienna Toyota vehicle have been hospitalized after it was involved in a ghastly road accident on Tuesday night. The vehicle's back tires had burst, resulting in the car somersaulting along Enugu-Port Harcourt Road by Umuahia axis. Passers-by were handy to transfer the accident victims to the Federal Medical Center in Umuahia, where they're currently receiving treatment as we speak. Tire malfunction and overspeedings have been blamed for this accident. News Central's Chinwe Ogile joins us now on the news to give us more updates on this situation. Now, Chinwe, from this story that we just read, we heard that 10 people have been hospitalized. Were there any fatalities?
Well, up till this morning, we didn't hear that the situation got worse because people were around, passers-by, commuters stopped their vehicles and were able to, donate their vehicles to transport these victims of the accident to the Federal Medical Center in Omahia. So there are no fatalities, but yesterday, as of that yesterday evening, one of them was unconscious. But it's not heard this morning that there's any further deliberation of, that the matter got worse, actually. So the situation has been brought under control, and then the people, the vehicle, because it happened right behind me. I'm standing at the express road. This is a highway, Omahia, Enugu, Port Harcourt Expressway. This is by Omahia axis, and we've been having series of accidents on this road, even though it's in a very good condition right now. But then we've been having series of accidents which have been occurring. Like every week, there will be one case of accident on this road.
So what are safety authorities saying, or what have they done so far?
We're at the office of the Federal Road Safety Corps here in Omahia this morning. We didn't meet the sector commander, but then we saw some officials who pleaded anonymity. But they told us that the reason for these incessant accidents are not unconnected to bad tires and then overspeeding. And actually, what we've seen so far, people, drivers are at very high speed on this road, and then they overload their vehicles with goods, because the very vehicle that got involved in that accident yesterday was laden with palm oil and clothing materials headed to the north. And then it also had 10 passengers. The vehicles were overloaded, and so it resulted to the car, the tire burst that eventually made the vehicle somersault.
Thank you so much for the updates. We're glad that there were no fatalities at least, and we're hoping that the injured victims recover swiftly. Now to more stories. Top security and justice leaders are meeting right now at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency headquarters, coming together to show a united front in tackling illicit drugs. It's a gathering aimed at strengthening enforcement and sending a strong message to those fueling the menace. Our correspondent, Sumaya Abubakar, is live with us now to share what's been discussed so far and the strategies that these leaders are lining up to keep the fight going. Sumaya, thank you for joining us. What have been the strategies that have been discussed so far?
Good afternoon, Blessing. Yes, I am right here at the headquarters of the NDLEA. And currently we have a lot of security chiefs and even security heads talking about security stakeholders in terms of handling these drug issues. Now, I have to mention names. Of course, we have Muhammad Abuja Marwa, who is currently the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency currently here. We also have Nuhu Ribado, who is the National Security Advisor. We have Latif Bademi, who is also that's the Minister of Justice as well as the Attorney General of the Federation. So currently, they are saying that as much as they know that so far, from the side of the drug law agency, that there's been a lot of effort, but there's still a lot of lagging behind. There's still a lot of things that needs to be catch up. And the strategies they're saying, which was one of the reasons that this whole gathering came about, was more motivation. Now they pointed out a problem of mobility, which is the major issue currently, where they say sometimes there are, whistleblowers or attention calling their attention to come and get people who are into drugs, or the people, the perpetrators of this, like that, the sellers of the drug barrels and all of that. But they say because they don't have enough vehicles, there is no enough motivation. One of the things that they did was for the first time for the government of Nigeria to give the NDLEA mandate about 4 to 6 moves. Camera up there, I don't know if it's that clear, where you can see this of vehicles. So we have about 46. They had for the over 30 years of NDLEA's existence. This is the first time that situations like this are happening. So that is one of the strategies. Next one, they say that there needs to be more accountability and making sure that they hold everyone accountable and tracking the progress of the situation.
All right, Sumaya, thank you. Sumaya is still at the NDLEA headquarters and will bring us more updates in our subsequent bulletin. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has criticized the African Democratic Congress for allegedly politicizing corruption investigations involving politically exposed persons. Now, EFCC Chairman Olumuyiwa condemned ADC's claims that recent summons were politically motivated and based on old cases, stating investigations are impartial and ongoing regardless of party affiliation. He highlighted that the EFCC is probing governors, ministers, and senior figures across the political spectrum, emphasizing that corruption inquiries involve no sacred cows. Now, Olumuyiwa urged political parties to refrain from distracting the commission from its constitutional role. He called on Nigerians to disregard politicized statements designed to shift focus from the misuse of national funds. Social media has become part of everyday life for many young Nigerians, offering connection, entertainment, and new opportunities. But mental health experts are warning that too much time online can actually affect mental well-being, leading to problems like anxiety, poor sleep, and declining school performance. Right now, our correspondent, Wasiu Ayinde, is standing by with insights on how young people themselves are responding to these concerns. So, Wasiu, thank you for joining us. What are the young people saying regarding this? I know for a fact that there will be a bit of pushback to these claims.
Hello, blessings. Good afternoon. Thank you. So we already know it's an established fact that social media has become an everyday tool for young people to go online, make connections, look for opportunities. But at the same time, there are concerns that too much use of social media is beginning to take a toll on people, especially the young ones, pressure, cyberbullying, and the rest of it. So we are here on the street, and one of the young men here will tell us what he thinks about this menace. Please come forward, please. Okay, thank you. Okay. How much time do you spend on social media? And what do you do when you go there?
Averagely 6 to 8 hours. 6 to 8 hours. Then you tend to search for more information, enlighten yourself, and with yourself, like catch up with recent happenings.
Okay, so what do you think, how does it take a mental toll on you or any other person gone on social media and found yourself being pressured about certain things? And how do you feel about it?
Yeah, definitely it has the mental impact, negatively and positively anyway. Because negatively you feel the peer pressure, the fact to level up. Then at the same time, positively you get some motivation online. You get some motivation, some spirit, then you get to meet certain people that actually enlightens you and bright.
Concerned that social media is beginning to negatively impact people's mental health. How do you think can use social media?
Yeah, it's the untruth part anyway. Most of it have been propaganda, and most of the unverified news are actually being spread faster on social media. And it gets to the old age faster, and they believe anything they see online. They don't verify, they just think, okay, fine, they said this and this. They said this and this is that without verification, especially the whole AI innovation and everything. So it's as a negative, but at the same time, there's some positive impact it has on people as well.
All right, thank you, Wasiu, for that update, especially letting us hear from the youth on the street. Now, the Israeli government is deepening ties with Nigeria's innovation ecosystem as it unveiled its Innovate initiative, set to support over 100 tech startups. Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskel and TED Fund Executive Secretary Sonny Echono, while welcoming 14 new innovators, double the previous intake, say The move will boost entrepreneurship, skills development, and cross-border collaboration, with plans to extend the program's reach.
With the investment of the TET fund today that was announced, of a few more millions that are invested in this project, we are happy to announce that we are now opening this project for another 40 startups that will be able to apply now for a new program and a new internship. And I invite the Nigerian brilliant and creative minds to apply to this program, where now instead of 20, we'll have 40 startups that will be able to be chosen, some of the top ones, to make their dream come true. I think that this is part of when we're talking about the relationship government to government, people to people. This is what's building the bridges and strengthening the bonds.
Transform research findings to actual products and services that Nigerians will consume, that will help us to create jobs, to mop up this huge population of unemployed youths. It will also enable us to improve the standard of living of our people through new technologies, new ways of doing things, create new efficiencies, even in our processes, whether it's in agriculture, in science, or in manufacturing.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark International Youth Day, attention is turning to one of the biggest challenges facing young Nigerians: unemployment. But in the face of tough economic realities, many are refusing to wait for opportunities that may never come. Instead, building multiple income streams, from full-time businesses to side hustles. News Central's Omolola Olalade explores this trend.
Rising unemployment is pushing many young Nigerians to take their destinies into their own hands. Instead of waiting for the government or private sector to provide jobs, they are creating them, and for some, that has meant leaving the traditional 9-to-5 world altogether.
I like doing my own thing my own way. I like working at my own pace without any pressure. Even if there'll be pressure, the pressure would be from me pushing myself to do better, not pressure from authorities or whatever the case may be.
With business, I can have my time. You know, I'll have my time to take care of my family, to take care of myself, and also to do the business. But you know, when you're working under someone, working as a banker, of course, you might not have that time, that real time for yourself and your family.
While unemployment remains a major challenge for many Nigerian youths, others working white-collar jobs still grapple with underemployment, forcing many to secure additional income, reach personal goals, and stay afloat financially.
The 9 to 5 I'm doing, how much are they even paying? Barely get by. Let's just say that one is for like the food and the transportation. So the side one now is the one that we are saving.
The reason why I picked another side also is because I have bills to pay. I not just I have bills to pay. I have a life that I'm looking at. I have a goal that I'm attaining.
Figures from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics show that in 2024, unemployment among 15 to 24-year-olds stood at 6.5%, a sharp drop from 53.4% in 2020. However, the unemployment rate among 25 to 34-year-olds remains high at 37.2%. In Lagos, Commissioner for Youth and Social Development, Omobolaji Ogunlende, stresses that reducing youth unemployment is key to achieving inclusive economic growth.
As a government, as an administration, we see how we continue to tackle, this issue of unemployment through various programs and activities. And again, the idea is because we're very intentional and we're aware that not every youth is going to be in a white-collar job. So we must look for any avenue, any area to see how we can empower them, how we can give them the support that they need, to see how we can push them to the next level.
However, the long-held belief that job stability comes from white-collar work is slowly fading. Human resource experts say more Nigerians are prioritizing personal freedom over job security, a shift that's even influencing recruitment patterns.
Outside the 9 to 5, I think employers need to embrace the fact that people can do, side hustles as we know it. They can engage in some other business, some other gigs outside the 9 to 5 period. it's a bit tricky now that we're in the world of remote work, where some organizations don't know where to draw the line between work hours and non-work hours.
With more Nigerians embracing self-employment or side hustles, as we normally like to call it, one thing is clear, and that is the fact that one source of income is not enough, regardless of the fact that you're a 9-to-5 or an entrepreneur. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
News Central's Omolola Ololade on unemployment in Nigeria. Coming up on the news, South Africa's unemployment hits 33.2% in second quarter. Talking about unemployment, we have the details after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on the 12th report. Now, South Africa's unemployment rate rose to 33.2% in the second quarter of 2025, up from 32.9% in the first quarter, worsening the job crisis, according to statistics, South Africa's latest quarterly labor force survey. Now, about 25 million people are jobless out of a working age population of 41.8 million. Employment declined in 6 of 10 major sectors, with utilities shedding 6,000 jobs despite prior growth from renewables. Action SA criticized the government of national unity for internal conflicts that have left the economy directionless and struggling. Now, to discuss this further, we are joined by Alan Bisley, a member of the Parliament for Action SA, who will be giving us more updates on this. Alan, thank you for joining us. Now, I'm quite curious to know, how would you say that the disagreements within government of national unity has affected economic policies?
Yes, good day to your viewers, and thank you so much for having me. So essentially what's happened in the government of national unity, I don't know how they call it a government of national unity, because actually at the moment it's a government of disunity, and the two biggest leading parties in the coalition, you've got the DA and the ANC, and they're constantly at war with each other. You know, the hatred between the two parties is just quite palatable, and one can use an example of a family, you know, where two parents just don't get on, where they're fighting, where they hate each other, and the children are the ones that suffer. And that's what's happening in our country at the moment. The economy is suffering, the unemployed are suffering, and the youth are suffering. You know, it's the youth unemployment, it's even worse than the general unemployment. So it's just two parents who are at war with each other, in complete war with each other, and everybody is suffering as a result of it.
Now, according to Action SA, what are the best ways to fight unemployment and to boost economic growth?
It comes down to getting the basics right. You know, business is just doing the basics right, and we're facing several issues in our country at the moment. And one is our logistics sectors, where our freight sector, our train sector, has become under huge pressure. It's been faced with massive corruption over the last years, with the state capture, and it's just so expensive to move goods in our country. So if you manufacture goods, to move them anywhere is just so expensive. And then our ports, our two ports, major ports in our country, are probably the worst ports in the world. So I don't know how we can be part of the global market if we can't move goods. The other big issue, so we need to get our logistics right. The other issue is electricity. We've had massive load shedding over the last couple of years. They've stopped that, but the electricity price we faced in this country has been about 35-40% increases in the last 2 years, and that's made many South African businesses uncompetitive. And then the third thing too, which is not easy to overcome, is red tape. There's so much bureaucracy and red tape in trying to run a business in this country that they're actually making it harder to run a business than not. And then also just talking to the youth, we need to empower youth. We need to give youth the opportunities to get access to capital. In South Africa, we have a thing called a BEE, which is Black Economic Empowerment, but it's focusing on the elite, and we need to focus on the youth. You know, transformation in our country in South Africa is imperative, both from a moral and economic growth, but we need to do it from the youth upwards as opposed from the elite downwards. So those are the 4 simple areas that we believe Action SA will get this economy going.
All right, Member of Parliament for Action SA, Alan Bisley, thank you for joining us on the news. Now to Central Africa. The Congolese army has accused the Rwanda-backed M23 militia of multiple attacks on its positions in the east, where several days of fighting have threatened a U.S.-brokered ceasefire deal. Since taking up arms again at the end of 2021, the M23 armed group has seized swaths of land in the restive region with Rwanda's backing, triggering a spiraling humanitarian crisis. A fresh surge of unrest broke out early this year when the M23 captured the key cities of Goma and Bukavu, setting up their own administrations. Now, outside of Africa, a dangerous heat wave is gripping much of Europe, as we've told you earlier, with record temperatures, deadly wildfires, and red alerts in force from the UK to the Balkans. Authorities are warning millions to take precautions as the extreme weather shows no sign of easing. Now, for News Central, senior international correspondent Afia Hagen is braving the afternoon heat in London. Afia, thanks for joining us. I can see that it seems a little better from your demeanor, but I know that you're still struggling with the heat. What is the update on the weather?
You're right, Blessings. It's certainly not as hot as it was yesterday, but we are in the fourth heat wave of the year, which is unprecedented for London, for the United Kingdom. We had record temperatures yesterday, 33.4 degrees, 34 degrees across the country. Today, we could have 30 degrees. Now, I suppose to a lot of people across Nigeria and West Africa, it doesn't sound like it's exceptionally hot. But for London, this is unusual. For the United Kingdom, this is unusual. And certainly across Europe, this is unusual as well. To have 4 heat waves within one summer, one starting very early on in the year, early June, that is unusual. And of course, climate change is playing its part.
I mean, it's not just England that's sweltering now, is it? What's the picture across Europe like?
Absolutely right. Actually, Europe is bearing the brunt of this heat wave at the moment. At least 3 people have died as the scorching heat wave is causing wildfires to break out across many parts of France and Portugal. Red heat alerts have been issued for Italy, France, Spain, and Portugal, and the Balkans. We have temperatures of up to 44 degrees today, but what is making matters worse is you have those high winds up to 70 kilometers an hour, and of course that is what's pushing those wildfires, which are spreading across many, many parts of Europe.
All right, thank you, Afia Hagen, for the updates, and I'll try to say again, stay cool. All right, it's still the 12 reports. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us.
Start. Now, look at it. Look at the road. Look at Bota. This is Operation Junction. Over to this place. Over this area. Video here. Look at me. The allocation that is coming to Delta State, the allocation that is coming to Ethiopia, if you take 0.01 out of it, it's enough to tie this road. To whom much is given, much is expected. You can't tell me that I'm insulting a local government chairman when I'm telling him to do what he's supposed to do. The money that he's receiving from the federal government is enough to solve this problem. Must he stay there for 4 years so they can affect to solve a problem like this? You are telling me that it's just 1 year in office. So must he spend 4 years before they can do something like this? With 0.01 allocation, you can do this thing. Just 1 more allocation, you can solve all this problem. You are talking about insult. I'm talking about facts, you are talking about insult. Tell me his achievement. 1 year in office. I wanted to contest as a local government chairman. They said it is Ovuton, that I should allow him to go so that he can do something in Ovu community. Now he's there. He's doing nothing. Is he capable? Better he resign. Let somebody who is capable to handle the job. I better carry the camera and go. They say now Ovuton to produce local government chairman. See.
Just take a look at the sorry situation Nigerians find themselves in. And newsflash, what you've seen is not peculiar to rural areas. The roads in your communities have turned into murky swimming pools. Yet the local government chairmen are blindly behind the old "I've only been in office for a year" excuse. Let's be real. You don't need a full year to take action. Day 1 in office is enough to start acting, not day 365. Let me show you something. Nigeria's local governments collectively received an approximately 444 billion naira in June 2025 alone from federal allocations. That's money meant to maintain streets, meant to build drainage and make sure that your commute isn't as wet season survival course. Meanwhile, across the country, 85% of our roads remain unpaved, leaving millions of Nigerians bouncing through potholes and wading through floods, as though there was no budget for this. The ripple effect? We lose around $7.8 billion a year in economic value, about 1.6% of our GDP, just from the disruption of bad roads causing to goods and transport. And still, the excuse machine keeps churning. It's too soon to judge. Give us more time. But when your streets are underwater and your vehicles are breaking down, just take a look at these roads. Time isn't the luxury that you have. Leadership is about acting now, not explaining why you can't. It's time to stop the warm-up act and put the funds to work. Residents of Delta and all other communities, as far as you're concerned, demand transparency. Ask for a monthly breakdown of road maintenance spending. I know it's not easy. Insist on visible before and after proof and hold your leaders accountable. And newsflash, some people might want to act now because the elections are coming. So accountability is key. We all need better representation because here's the truth. Flooded roads don't just drown cars. They drown economies, they drown spirits, and they drown trust in government. A year is not an excuse. It's a wasted opportunity unless action starts now.